Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Partha Nandi. Thank you for joining us today, wherever you are. It's a beautiful night in Detroit, and I know many of you are busy, and thank you for joining us. And wherever you are, let us know where you're joining us from, and we hopefully can get you involved in our discussion. And wherever you're joining us from, let us know. And today we're talking about, which I think is a pretty interesting topic. Um, a lot of people are familiar with, right? The online trolling, social media, and folks who are just not nice, right? And what's up with that? I mean, is there what's going on, and is there, talk about the science behind that. Imagine there's science behind this that people actually are misbehaving, and also on a more serious note, online bullying and all that it pertains and entails. Rather, as kids, we had a lot of challenges, but this these challenges that our children face are even more unique and often more troublesome. So, just want to talk to you about it and talk to you about some of the science and in your experiences. Any of you have faced this? I know so many of us have. When you actually have people that are less than nice, and is there science behind it? So I just wanted to put some information out there for all of you who are out there, and why nice people become mean online. So just just normal people all of a sudden, what happens when they start misbehaving? Is it something that is within all of us, or is it just some people are just made to be that way? So really, um, I think that it's really interesting what happens. So I want to say hi to some of the people that are joining us. Jill Potter Smart, thank you for joining us. Yatin Guard, and let us know where you are, where you're on the planet, and where you're joining us from, whether it's Detroit, California, New York, or outside. Katie Eckhart, thank you, our amazing nurse, Katie. And Amanda, it's great to have you join us. Amanda's awesome as well. And that, hopefully I'm not killing your name here. Yagnarine. Kirsten, thank you for joining us. Masalone Ninon, and I'm probably mispronouncing your name. Rosa Maria, Melissa Pickett. Melissa, how are you? Another amazing RN. Joy Montego, good morning. Heidi, Leslie, Bisma, and Manas Bandupadai, how are you? Manas, are you Bengali? Good morning. You must be watching us from India. Jill Potter again, thank you. And Leslie with South Africa, California for Jill. Denise Dunfield. Denise, how are you? Karen Patrick from Illinois. And I'm a little quiet since I can hear you, but let me adjust my microphone. Let me know if that's any better, if that hopefully works. And Mahua from next door. And hello from London, Jackie. Thank you for joining us. Hello from Detroit and Arizona and beautiful Maine. I have not been to Maine, but I'll get right into it. Why do nice people actually become trolls? So, it looks like what happens is that a survey just done with 40% of Americans that had personally experienced online abuse, and half of them actually receiving severe forms of harassment, including physical threats and even stalking. And 70% of women described online harassment as a major problem. And really, what happens is that our human ability to communicate ideas across networks really helped us to build a modern world. So we don't want to shut that down, because people say, well, the internet is horrible, so we'll just shut that down. But it's really more than that, right? And so, what do we do to be able to find some common ground, right? Find common ground and thrive as a species. So, being nice to other people. So I think that this is common sense, but the Yale University's Human Cooperation Lab, and here they found out how it is and why we cooperate, whether we can enhance our pro-social behavior. And so, if you think about it from the perspective of an individual, for the director said that for each dollar you contribute, it gets doubled to two and split in four ways, which means that each person gets 50 cents back for the dollar they contribute. So that's kind of how you can be generous. And what happens online, I think, is so many people who are outraged, right, who are just upset. And we tell our kids this, right? When you get upset and when you are unhappy, then you think to yourself before you speak. But what happens online is you can hide behind that shield, right, the behind the screen, and really not be as nice as you normally are. So listen, when you're in those moods where you are not at your best, I recommend just don't comment at all. I mean, unlike real life, right, this stuff stays with you for a long time, and people can be hurt by it, really be decimated by it. Robert James Ball, sharing with love, he says, but I'm in motion right now, and he is in New York City. So, I think that lots of people have faced online bullying, and I'm putting up a tool here for those of you, parents especially, who are watching, that face online bullying and their kids face online bullying, and some tools in which to really give them some ideas on how to, first of all, recognize it. A lot of parents don't even know what their kids are watching, what their kids are going through, are they really what they're experiencing. So I think that this kit will really be helpful for you. And I think, when you see the doctor, often we don't know what questions to ask, right? In my practice, we make it a point for all of our nurses and all of our medical staff to ask the questions. You feel like you're threatened? Do you feel like you're, for lack of a better word, bullied? And so we're going to put up a physician checklist for you that you can actually use to be able to ask your doctor, hey, you know what, this is what's going on, can you help me? Because often you don't know what questions to ask the doctor or healthcare provider. It's really important when you're facing challenges such as online bullying that you can do so much more. It's really a crisis in our nation, with everybody being online, everybody being connected. Anybody who's ever, been on a flight or in an airport, everybody's looking down right on their phones and sharing every moment. And so all it takes is, somebody making a bad comment or something that really is disparaging. I think that spirituality is such an important thing, and all of us getting together as a tribe is really critical, in the sense that if you don't have that, and if you have a lot of people that are saying negative things, negative comments, that affects your body in such a way. And as a doc, I care about it, from the standpoint of the fact I want our children to thrive, right? But also, when you have even these comments that come through, something happens in your body, right? Inflammation increases because cortisol levels rise, and what happens is that you all of a sudden are given these signals to your body that there's a threat, and that results in diseases like high blood pressure, diseases like diabetes, pre-diabetes. I mean, they all increase. So you take a tool that could really be useful. And I love these online forums where patients get together. A lot of my patients say, I went online and I saw this and I saw that, and that really helped me to fight a disease. Instead, you're taking those tools and you're creating negative problems. And I think that's why it's so important to make sure that you want to make sure that you don't get affected that way. So that's why I'm talking about it. I'd love to have any of your comments or any of your experiences in this field, and what you've experienced, and why do you think really good people that are otherwise normal and nice, and why they all of a sudden become these online trolls, and they start doing things that are negative. So the science is that what happens is that when we're at our worst, right? When you are emotional, when you're at, stressed and at your limits, that's when you make those kinds of comments, and that's why quote unquote good people can really turn into being bad. But then they're the bullies, right? They're the bullies in life that hide behind the screen and say, you know what, I'm going to take advantage of the situation and do something to hurt somebody. I always tell my kids something pretty simple. They're the people that will fill your bucket and people will empty your bucket, right? And so I tell my kids that other kids are going to make them feel bad, are going to make them feel like they're not worthwhile and treat them badly. they're bucket emptiers. And what you do is you have to have a sense that, you know what, you have to know who you are and you have to have pride in yourself. And so please pick up that tool that talks about online bullying and how you can recognize it, right? You can recognize these symptoms in your kids and really help them to be able to fight this. This is a real problem for so many kids, and who are wondering. First of all, you're at that stage in your life. It's so awkward. You don't really know, what's what, and you're just trying to formulate what's going on, and then you got kids who are doing these amazingly bad things. Karen Patrick says, "Where's the checklist?" I put it right up here. Karen, the checklist you can take to your doctor, and also this is and also I'll put up if it's not already there, we'll put up the tools for online bullying. Any of your comments about any experiences you've had where people have made really bad comments or disparaging comments on something that should be positive, and what is it that you did. I always give some prescriptions. So for those of you who are joining us, I'll give you a prescription. Number one, if you see something posted online that really triggers a negative reaction, I want you to do something. Pause first and think twice before responding. It's what we tell our kids, right? Try not to write something that you would not say in person. Just because you're behind that screen or behind that phone, right? You don't want to lose who you really are. Number two, anger over spiteful or ridiculous remarks. Is this a natural emotion? It's something that we have. But you ask yourself this question: is it worth my mental energy to respond? And does this represent who I am? Number three, and this sounds easy to do, but it's not always the case. Try to encourage cooperation online. Post positive remarks or experiences rather than ones that really spark conflict. So you can be in a really heated debate. So today, I talked about something that to me was really amazing, right? It was talking about a vaccine, a nasal vaccine that could really help people with peanut allergies. Peanut allergies can be life-threatening, but you had a lot of people that basically thought that all vaccines are bad, that vaccines are what cause peanut allergies, and made pretty bad comments that this is actually bought and paid for, etc. So you take something really positive that could save someone's life, and instead, what happens is that you make it into something negative. And so the way I handle it, I thank the people for making the comments. I said, appreciate your concerns and legitimate concerns that you have. And what I did was I said, listen, you know what? Remember that people who are having these issues, this could save their lives. So again, the lesson is that you take something that could charge me emotionally, saying, some people say this is bought and paid for, and I could get upset and go rah rah rah, get emotionally charged up. But instead, what I did was I said, listen, you know what? Thank you for your comments. Thank you for really making the views heard. But I'd like to let you know there's another side, right? There's another side of this whole story where you could really save someone's life. So I think that's the key. And if they still continue to badger you, that's okay. You don't have to respond, but you let them know that this is all about cooperation. We're really in this together. The human race, right? This is not about a competition about, are we right? Are we wrong? Are we going to outdo each other and out name call each other? So that's important. Lisa Wemberly says, I'm so glad that medical world is bringing this up about stress. You can heal yourself, she said, by being kind and loving to others. I was at a grocery store tonight and I smiled at everyone, but most people smile back. But I only had one person who was angry to a smile. Really important, because most people, kill them with kindness, right? That's what we always say. So it doesn't mean that you're insincere, but it's not hard to be positive. And when you do that, it really evokes great reactions. So really important point, Lisa. And what that does, that spirituality, that tribe really evokes positive emotions, decreases cortisol, decreases norepinephrine, decreases all of the factors that kill us, right? All the factors that result in life-threatening diseases like stroke, high blood pressure, diabetes. Jerry Bailey, my buddy, how are you? And Jerry says, think positive and positive mental outlook. Two big mottos my dad always taught us. And you're absolutely right. And here's the thing, even if people are upsetting you online, you have to remember that it's critical. And I think that these are challenging times. That's every generation has said that these are challenging times. And I think that one of the ways to really counter that is meditation, right? So meditation is a huge way in which you can calm yourself. And a lot of my patients say, Doc, I can't go up on a mountaintop, right? And I can't sit there and sit cross-legged and chill out. What I tell them is that it's not really about that, right? Meditation can be done in any room, and it could be done really easily. And I do have a Calming the Chaos meditation guide for those of you who are interested in learning some basics about meditation. Pretty easy. If I can do it, you can as well. And it's really cool. One thing I will tell you, this is a really important topic, and if you think your friends or your community could benefit, please share this with them. It really is important to share this with your community. We can grow our community and really share some of this information that could be very, very important. And also like our Facebook page. If you're new to our Facebook page, please like us. We'd love to share more ideas with you. So I'm gonna see if I can answer some of your comments and questions. Mayuri Rana, thank you so much for joining us. And Jackie Wilashewski, I appreciate you. Nancy Calderola and Becky Ashing. And how's everyone in the house? Everyone's doing great. Thank you, Becky. I appreciate it. Today we're talking about the online trolls and online bullying and how do you handle this? How do you handle this kind of behavior? What do you do when nice people really become not so good, right? So, the research shows that messages with both moral and emotional words are more likely to spread on social media, right? So, people with emotional words are likely to spread. So each moral or emotional word in a tweet also increases the likelihood of being retweeted by 20%. So content really that triggers outrage, right? And expresses outrage is more likely to be shared. So the more conflict you can create, it seems like it's really good for what? Social media. So that really, a lot of people get benefit and get what? Recognition and also they get satisfied when they have this outrage that comes up. But the entire picture, it becomes negative, right? So to me, social media is something that should be used with love and respect and community and tribe, but rather it's used, in a completely different way. I wrote a book last year, and it talks about the 5 steps to becoming your own health hero. I think it's behind me, and it's called Ask Dr. Nandi, and one of the chapters is about what? Your tribe. And one of the ways you can really have a great tribe is to do what? Is to be with your community. And that means your online community too. And that doesn't mean spreading hate and spreading outrage. Even though social media may reward you, I still would recommend that you do something far more important, which is have cooperation. Show examples in which we don't have to smack each other around metaphorically to make a point. So it's really important. And and research is showing that when you do this, it can actually be great. And what are some of the triggers? So if somebody who doesn't want to get people to troll, right? Some of the triggers are, number one, is listen, the context of the exchange, how other users are behaving, and your mood. So how your mood is really important. So if you're having a bad day, happens to be Monday, you're more likely to troll the same situation. You're nicer on a Saturday, right? So your mood and how you're behaving, and I'm talking about all of us, right? All of us have been in the mood where you hear something, you're like, come on, that is just ridiculous. I cannot believe somebody would write that. So, you know what? Take a step back. So, what kind of mood you're in going in is really important. And so good news is that in spite of the horrible behavior so many of us have experienced online, the majority of interactions are nice. So all those reactions that maybe are not going viral, right, are cooperative. So we have to remember that. And we've had, thousands and thousands of years to kind of get our reactions in person kind of honed. But really, we've had less than, 2 decades maybe to try to get social media mastered. So I think it's hard for people, right, to be able to do that. to be able to know how to behave, and that's also critical in being able to understand that. Let me see if I can um, find some of your comments here and answer them. So I'm seeing them, and I only see part of them on my screen. So I appreciate all of you joining us. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for sharing, Jackie. Jackie wrote sharing. So I appreciate that. And for those of you who just joined us, I did put a couple of tools in there. Number one is physician checklist. You know, if you're going to your doctor and you think that there's been some online bullying, then you know, what can you do? I'm also going to switch to my phone to see if I can, you know, if I can get this some of these questions. Also, love some of the royals that are on. Royals are awesome. For those of you who don't know who royals are, the Royal Society is an online community, and sometimes you know people think, well, you know, I live in a town of 50 people, and so I can't have a community. I can't have a tribe. Well, not so, right? And I'll tell you, the royals are sometimes even closer than family members, even though they're separated by thousands of miles. Sometimes they come together and they will support each other. So I am going to go online on my phone and see if I can find some of these comments because the computer sometimes hides them. So bear with me here. Let me see if I can find these comments and hopefully don't hear myself echo. Hope you guys are doing well, and I thank you for joining us tonight or wherever you are. Maybe it's early evening if you're in the West Coast, or if you are outside this country. Let me see. There you go. I'm now looking at myself. So, let's see if I can. Let me see if I can turn myself down. Let's see if I can do this. And positive quotes with author Holly. And Robert James Walls, one of the royals, states this: growing up in New York, you learn how to deal with trolls early, and playing sports gives you a great education on how to handle trolls like a baller. So, handling like a baller, you know, Robert talks about, you know, this is an important tool. Tool is that, you know, you want to being a baller means what? You are confident of who you are, right? And so it's great to tell kids this, that listen, no matter what people say about you, right? Your self worth comes from within, not without. So being a baller, like he's talking about, it means that you're having the self confidence and knowing really what it takes, and knowing what it takes. So you're not being given your self worth by others outside, meaning you can get that yourself. So very cool. Let me see if I can find some more comments here. Justin Crowder, thank you for joining us. Annabelle Adams, I was online bullied a long time ago. Someone sent me some nasty pictures of abused animals. So you know, this is the kind of stuff that's uncalled for. I think it's just crazy. And to me, listen, I get really emotional. I get upset and angry. But the key is that when you're upset and angry with these folks, it just fuels the whole fire. So I would say take a step back and take a deep breath and say, listen, you know what? Be empathic, right? So try to see why they're doing what they're doing, because sometimes it doesn't make any sense at all. So you want to take a step back and not fuel the fire. And Kara Jackson sharing. Thank you for sharing these this Facebook Live. If you feel this is worthwhile, please share it with your community. And again, love for you guys who are new to us to like our Facebook page. And Amanda Fernandez says beroyal.com. Absolutely. Awesome. Check it out for those who want to know what real online community is about. And here, you know, one of the things that we didn't touch upon is how important mental health is in our country, and the kind of crisis. You know, you may go to a community and find 15 cardiologists or who knows how many doctors, but you may find very few professionals in mental health. We're in a crisis of social isolation where people, you know, as we're talking, many people have already tried and successfully committed suicide throughout the world. And to me, that's a tragedy. And that's part of the story, is that when you have folks online, we're fueling this fire of self-loathing, self-hatred, and really getting folks to not appreciate who you are. I think it's really a big part of the problem, and really understand that, you know, please advocate for having good mental health for our entire country. And one of the ways to do that is with meditation. I think meditation is really a great tool. It's within us that we can actually fight this, and we can actually get self-awareness and calm all those feelings And I've put together a Calming the Chaos meditation guide for those of you who are interested in learning the beginning parts of meditation. It's yours free. If you'd like to partake in it, please do. I want to look and see if I can find some other questions here for you. Let me see if I can get that. It's sometimes hard to find all the questions when you are live. So let's take a look and see. Here we go. Justin Carter says, I think, doctor, if someone was the one doing the bullying, they're not happy at home. There's a problem somewhere, and then they grow up and become bitter. And most of them grow up and take it to the workplace. The ones being bullied sometimes end up isolated from others because they aren't used to kind, nice people. And here's the thing, very important, that most people who bully, right? Most people who bully have actually been bullied as well. Most people who build are ones who are doing the bullying. Their mental health is not up to par, meaning that they're also suffering from the same problems that many of us are with mental health. They often don't have a great home life, and they're hurting quite a bit, and they're taking that out, and their behavior is not excusable. It's not to say that, hey, you know what, it's okay to do that, but rather that we should understand and be empathetic, right? Empathetic to these folks. Noel Dodge, awesome. Put beroyal.com and go McGill.com. That's great. Thank you for putting that comment on. Sama Akbar, hello. Thank you for joining us. Samar is a beautiful soul. And also Noel Dodge says sports teaches you community early. I like that. I would love for our kids to get involved in sports more because it teaches you that it's really not always about me. It's about us. It's about cooperating. It's about the absolute tribe coming together. And when the tribe comes together, right, that's when you can have cooperation. That's when you can thrive. As a society, human beings have thrived because they've been in a community. I write about this in my book, that we have thrived because we did things together, not in isolation. So it's really important to have that message that you can thrive and thrive when you have a community. So well said. I appreciate that comment. Let me keep going here. Let's keep going. Let me see if I can find some comments. And please look at the resources I've also had for you. If anybody has experienced online bullying, we've got a resource here that'll help you to identify and talk to your kids about that. It's such a big problem. And for those of you who didn't join me in the beginning and are joining me now, many of us had so many pressures when we were growing up, but now you have to face these pressures online as well, and you have to really, know what your kids are doing. One of the things are so many parents are clueless about what their kids are doing, what they're about, and so I think it's really important to do something important. It's do something really critical is to know your kids' habits, right? So if they're online and find out what they're saying and read some of the comments that they're making and understand what the comments people are making about them. You have to be involved in your children's life. And also I think the dinner table, right? The dinner table is, to me, it's a great place for campfire. So what I mean by that is don't put your table on fire, but rather the stories that you tell, the stories your kids tell, and about who they are and what happened at school. It's really it's such an important time for you to learn about that, and that's when you understand how to intervene, because you can really get a sense of what is going on in their lives. If you're totally not involved and don't have any interaction with them, and just you cross paths in the night, that's not going to work. They're very important. Now let me keep going here. Let me see if I can find some of these comments, because I am the 145 comments that I'm not always seeing. So I appreciate your patience here. If anybody who's put up a comment or a question that I've not answered, I'll answer to you. Noel, Chicago. That's awesome. And then let me take a look and see. Jackie says this can include being bullied with these groups like online games. Oh yeah, that's another thing. It's so many ways in which online communities can be bullied. And so I'll give you my prescriptions again for those of you who are just joining us. Number one, if you see something posted online that triggers a negative reaction, pause first and then think twice before responding. Try not to write something disparaging, something negative. Remember, what you wouldn't say in person is not okay to then say online, because you're hiding behind that screen. or that phone. It's really important to not say things you would never say in person. Also, anger over spiteful or ridiculous remarks from others. It's a natural emotion. I suffer with that sometimes. If you see something written, you say, but ask yourself, is it worth the mental energy to respond? And does it represent who I am or my family? Three is try to encourage cooperation online. Post positive remarks or experiences rather than ones that spark conflict. And lastly, if you're someone who tends to think negatively, train your brain to really think more positively. Positively, recognize some of the great things in life, and the more you cultivate positivity, the more likely you'll be nicer when you're online too. Remember, great tools that your body has, including meditation, that can really help change the tide. And look at our resources. When you go to the doctor, really look at the physician checklist and see how you can, what things you can ask the doc or a healthcare professional. And lastly, you want to be able to give your kids the tools you need. So I put an online bullying kit for you. And so I appreciate all of you joining us tonight, wherever you're joining us from. I know it's a busy evening for you, so I appreciate you taking the time. Remember, make healthy living a part of every day. I appreciate you joining us. We'll be back again next Wednesday night and have another interesting topic. Hopefully you like it. So until then, I will see you later. Thank you for joining us.